What is happening? Welcome to the Will Studios. I am live. Making minor adjustments. And I'm redrawing everything. I'm redrawing Revenant Steel. From page 1, I had the hard art critique. I did some thinking. And we're just going to redraw all of it. So I've already sketched out a whole bunch of stuff. I'm keeping most, I've eliminated the billboard here on the last panel, and I'm moving the horse up a little bit. Where am I? Probably have, if maybe this leg comes back a little bit. Where are his legs? Where are these horses' legs? Like a badonk. I'm giving him like a badonkadonk here. But anyway. That's where we're at. I haven't shared this anywhere yet. Hold on a second. Let me do that. Let me post up. Copy that link. Twitter. And going live. Redraw everything. All right, we'll see if anybody, pops in. See how I'm doing. Now, Shane Davis gave me some great advice. He said, look at someone who you want to draw like and figure out, like, how are they feathering things? How are they doing this and that? You know what I mean? He clearly recognized that I was, just kind of trying to visualize it all myself. It's like I've studied the cross hatching and stuff. Like once upon a time, I didn't shade anything because I was just always doodling all the time. I wasn't taking art seriously until I started thinking about stories. Anywho, I needed to learn how to shade. I needed to actually add texture to things. What is up, Omer? I'm talking about leveling up. Talking about taking some strong advice. Shane Davis told me I needed to pick out somebody who I wanted my artwork to look like and kind of look at what they did and see how they figured stuff out. And that'll help me get better quicker. That was his advice. So I got Berserk pulled up here. And one thing to keep in mind, he was like a teenager when he started drawing this. So I'm sitting here looking at like issue 2. But he does render things a lot like me, where it's just like a lot of cross hatching, but I'm seeing where he's doing it a little bit better than me. And he seems to do it like Shane thought I was over rendering a whole bunch of stuff, right? So coming back in here to redraw it, I'll be avoiding doing the wood grain. So like now I'm thinking, because before I had it where I built the wall, you know what I mean? Like I built the whole tower stone by stone pretty much. Like I had it where you could like zoom in and see all the stonework. But I don't need to be doing all that, and it hurts the reader's ability to interpret like focal distance, right? Yeah, right? Just have Shane draw it for me. Um, the point of this is that someday I will be, more, someday Shane might be like, Will's really good. Someday Shane might be talking to somebody else and be like, Will's a really good artist, you know. And he gets better. He's only ever getting better, So I can just add some stonework like around the edges, and that'll make like an adequate wall. Like I can sit here and just put in like a little bit like down the line here. And that should accomplish what I want without the rendering making it look like it's blending into the zombie's head. You know what I mean? Because if you go back and if you read Berserk and really, like he said, like pay attention to how they're feathering, pay attention to how they're really doing things. Kentaro Miura doesn't put that much detail into like anything from my perspective. Like he's not rendering every surface, he's rendering just along the curve of the surface, right where like an American artist would have put like a core shadow, you know. And I am American, so I do want to have more blacks, like, in the artwork. I'm not trying to make a manga, although I love manga. But his buildings end up coming out a lot cooler looking. Sorry, now I'm just like examining the architecture and seeing like, okay, subjugates. Should I put the link in the chat? Where am I at? How do I even find a link? How do I do this? Is that it? Oh, there we go. Copy. There we go, if anybody wants to jump on. But I'm also making the towers like a little more even. When I first drew the towers, I felt like they were a little off, and then I kind of like rationalized things and ended up keeping like the towers as two different heights. But it looked dumb. It looked shoddy. So I'm going to keep most of the original like construction here, but um, instead of seeing like all the wood grain, I can just sort of show, I can have where the beams interact with the stonework. Yeah, no worries, man. And then this gate, you'll see what the gate is. You'll know it's a gate, but you're not going to be looking at all the lines here and there on the gate. And I've decided, you know what? This thing doesn't even need to be an arch on the gate. Since it's made of wood, I'm going to have it be a straight plank here. And put like little rectangles that look like, okay, it's got some sort of just more wood to hold it up, I guess. I don't know. It kind of looks like it makes sense, right? Nah, I'll get rid of those things. And I don't think I really need to redraw very much of that horse. So I'm actually just going to grab it and bring it up to my new layer. And I'm going to take that gate with me too. And I'm going to take the zombie with me. I don't need to redraw the zombie. I got to try to take it easy on myself a little bit. You know? I didn't do too bad on that zombie hand, did I? All right. This is the benefit of working digitally, you know? Because I don't want to redo this horse again. Get rid of this necklace, though. He doesn't have a necklace anymore. That was something. I can't remember who it was that was like, does he need that necklace? Maybe he doesn't. One thing I'm seeing is zipatone. Is that what it's called? Where it's just the dots? And I know in the classic like manga, I remember in one of my how-to books, it was like they have these sheets of it that they cut the shape out. They got to trace it with an X-Acto knife and then glue it to the final artwork to get the gray tones. But it's just black dots. And maybe that's what I need to be doing instead of graying my ink pen and going through it with the grays. I could do the zipatone. And that'll be the way to go there. But it was really nice of those guys on Hard Art to go through and just see how they reacted to my work. And this is gonna help me be great. You know, you got to get out there and be great. This will also be a great, part of the marketing because I'll be like, hey, page 1 redraw. I want to go out there and win it for all the dudes, all the 30-year-olds that I've been meeting whose dream it is to make a comic book. I want to do it for them. I want to raise 50 grand on my first campaign for all those guys. I have a lot of that done for the first I have 10 pages pretty tightly paneled out subjugates, and then I have a script for the rest of it. And I'm really focusing on finishing these first 10 pages and then going through and paneling out the rest of the first issue, right? And then I can come through and do final inks. But I'm really glad I've done it this way, because it's like I've put all my effort and time into trying to make these pages look as good as they can, as good as I can make them, right? And then get some feedback, and now I feel like they're going to be in their final form, you know? And now I have a clearer idea of what the artwork is going to be looking like throughout the rest of the issue, because now I'm not going to spend so much time just spinning my wheels, you know? That's the real power of that critique. I don't know if somebody just tried to jump in or not. Anyway. I can add like a little more detail than Mira did. Like I can come in here and just drop in some of the like little crease shadows maybe. That way I'm not drawing like every stone. Let me zoom out and see what that looks like. Now, where's the moon right now? I guess if I'm thinking that the light's generally coming down like in this direction, right? Or is it kind of coming down? I guess from the other way. Kind of like. Yeah, straight down from like the upper left, I guess, is where the light is coming from. Man, I'm sitting here like itching to go in here and just draw every stone. I gotta pull away. Pull away, Maverick. Stop it. They don't need it. They don't need to see every stone. We've been over this, Maverick. Man, it's hard to talk and draw. What should I talk about? Let's break the silence a little bit. Maybe I should have had like a topic or something in mind. We could talk about Berserk. Friggin' who was it? It was Jake and F me for not ever remembering anybody's name ever, even if I like have spoken to and like these people. No, Subjugates is Cody, but Richard is his name. Rich, god damn it, Peter. No, let me look this up real quick. Yeah, Peter Orchard. That's what it was. Peter Orchard. Oh, have I watched Fallout? I only watched season 1. I played Fallout. The Fallout show, I realized something about it. It kind of because there were parts of it that kind of bugged me. I was sitting there like for instance, the scientist who had the dog is escaping, and he's being shot at, right? And I'm like, well, he needs to be dead. Obviously, he needs to be dead. And then I can't remember if someone pointed it out to me or if I kind of put it together where it's like his luck skill is maxed out. That doctor or whatever. So that's why the bullets just didn't hit him, because this is a video game world, you know. So freaking that dog died, and then they used a stim pack or a revive on it or whatever, and it started kicking again. And it's like, or it wasn't dead yet, like it wasn't all the way dead, so they were able to use a stim pack. That happened in the first few episodes when they revived the dog, and I'm like, come the fuck on. Did they really just revive a dog? Then I'm like, you know what though? It's a video game. But I saw, I guess in the new season, they did the New Vegas stuff, which is pretty cool. I loved New Vegas. I don't know if I would put Fallout 3 above or below New Vegas, if we're talking about the video games. Most people, I think, would put New Vegas above it, though. And it was really cool, because instead of, did you come out of a vault? No, you, woke up because you were shot. You were a guy who was already outside of a vault. So they switched it up a little bit. Finding the vaults was always cool. New Vegas's peak. I can't disagree. They're so tight though. Because New Vegas is fresher in my memory, and I remember how cool it was. But then, the more I think about it, the more I remember how cool Fallout 3 was too. Like Fallout 3 was freaking awesome. It's hard. It's hard for me to pick a favorite anyway. If 3 had the mechanics of New Vegas, they'd be tied. I forget what the differences in the mechanics were, to be honest. But I remember in number 3, you were looking. Was it that you were looking for your dad? Because you were trying to get the Gek, or was it called the Gek? The terraforming device that would make everything green again. Was there another Fallout game that I'm thinking of? Because which one was the one? Was there a Fallout 5? 4? There was a Fallout 4, right? With the synths? And it was in Boston? It's amazing how I eliminate memories. Like games that I spent hours on, and I don't care to remember much about it at the end of the day. Yeah, 4 and 76. And was 76 might have been the multiplayer. 4 was the synths in Boston. Right. And that one ended up being the weakest, in my opinion. Like, it was kind of cool, but meh. It wasn't as cool as New Vegas was, for sure. So I might still be over rendering a little bit. Or am I? I'm not. That's good enough. Maybe. Let's give it a harder shadow down on this side. Try not to ASMR too much into the microphone. That doesn't look as cool. Oh yeah, Peter Orchard and Berserk. So yeah, the first time I went on his show, and he's telling me about how Berserk is overrated and this and that, and I had to go on there and defend it. And he's talking about, oh, Kentaro Miura is not Bernie Wrightson. And I'm like, no shit, dude. Like, Bernie Wrightson is a freaking genius, and he was an older dude. He's not a mangaka. He was not producing a monthly series. Not that Berserk came out frequently. Like, it's always, it's had so many delays for so long, you know, especially towards the end. It was like 8 months between issues. And, you know, you're comparing that to Bernie Wrightson, who created these masterpieces of line work. You know, he probably spent so much more time and was so much, you know, he was passionate about visualizing a beloved story, whereas Kentaro Miura was creating his own story. Like, everything was from his imagination, you know, even though obviously a lot of the things are paying homage. You know, he borrows a lot of visual style from Fist of the North Star. But he's still doing it all himself. And he's also, you know, when he started out, he was more or less a kid. I think he was in his teens. He wasn't 20 yet, I don't think. It's been a while since I like read his biography or whatever. I've definitely forgotten a lot about him. How did he die again? Because it was something. I know the guy who created Yu-Gi-Oh died saving somebody who was drowning. From what I think, that's how I remember reading that story. But the guy who created Berserk, let me look that up real quick. Acute aortic dissection. Damn, so he had a tear in the inner layer of the aorta. And he just bled out. The bleeding, the internal bleeding was not survivable. Jeez. Not great, you know. But then again, he was kind of falling off a little bit in the art department. I feel like his assistants were doing a lot of the work in the later issues. Like, sometimes Griffith would straight up look like a doll. Like, he had his lips like pursed up at one point, like he's sitting at a war. There's a wartime table with like the other lords or whatever, and Griffith turns and he looks like a friggin' sex doll. He's just like, you know, it's insane. It was, I don't want to call it like bad, but it was bad. And then the story was getting so lost in itself because they were setting so many things up. And I know me, I was waiting for it to come crashing down. With Berserk, because the whole point of Berserk is to do the most like extreme thing possible. That was what sort of like drew me to the series. When Guts is having a good time or finding stability, that's the perfect time to remove that stability, right? But we were languishing because we were waiting 8 months for the next chapter and 8 months for the next chapter and even more. Like sometimes it's more than a year between chapters at that point. And 30 pages. And it felt like forever. We were sitting there with the Queen of the Elves or whatever. And Casca gets her memory back. And then Skull Knight's there. But it's like we're not moving. We're not doing anything. I haven't read the last 10 issues of Berserk since Mira died and his assistants took over completely, like the whole process. When they wrap up the series, I'll go back to it. But yeah, he was like he was dogging on Berserk. But Mira does a great job. And I'll go ahead and have some of his work up next to me so that I can sort of scroll through and work stuff out. And really master my squiggles, because if I could master my squiggles and just put the right amount of texturing on things, then everything will be better. The world can heal. And we don't have to remember how bad Game of Thrones was. It can't hurt us anymore. Here, I can actually click on comments and show them. Dang, I've only read the first few mangas and I'm about halfway through the animated show, but the version I'm watching spliced the old and new one together. The animated show, I watched the one that they made in 2016, the one that had all the sort of quasi CGI and 2D, 3D animations, right? It was like a 2D animation made in Blender. And it was pretty good. It really, like, for me, because I was such a big fan of the manga, that watching that, it was really cool to remind me of how cool the manga was. Like, stuff would happen, and I'm like, oh man, that's cool. Or stuff wouldn't happen. Like the one dude, the real messed up guy who's like a dog monkey demon, who you first meet him and he's just graping. I need to look up the words I need to use, but he's essaying in Minecraft these females that are just brought to him. They're like feeding these girls to him. You know what I'm saying? And this is when Guts and them were escaping after they after Griffith was tortured. Okay. I don't know how far you are in any of this, but in fact, just tell me what the last thing you read was so that I can kind of avoid spoilers, because yeah. The monkey demon grapist is not necessarily a spoiler, I think, because if you're watching the cartoon, they're not even going to show him. So you really got to go to the manga for that guy. But oh, your buddies have spoiled all of it? Those bastards. It's so good when it's unspoiled. Like, it sucks that you won't get the unspoiled experience of, like, Oh my God, what is it? Because nobody. My friend tried to get me into Berserk at one point, years before I actually gave it a shot, and he did the same thing for Evangelion, and it took me a while to come around to Evangelion as well. But for Berserk, like he was showing me the eclipse parts, right, in his manga because he had that volume, and I just wasn't into it. But I came back to it, and yeah, so Griffith gets captured, and then Guts and the gang go and save him, but after 3 years of torture. So then when they're running away, because they escaped the city with Griffith and they're getting away, and the only thing they won't tell me is why they say Griffith did nothing wrong. Dude, Griffith didn't do anything wrong. Griffith was always very honest about his purpose, and that his purpose was everything, and that he will sacrifice everything for that purpose. And his friends, they would sacrifice their life. You know, they, as the Band of the Hawk, I think they would gladly sacrifice anything for Griffith. So it works out. Have you gotten to what do they call it? The eclipse. Have you gotten to the eclipse? Has Griffith ascended with the power of the Behelit? And that's another thing. Like I don't have too many trinkets. Like I don't have too many things. But if I could get a Behelit, I can get one of those. I could walk around, you know, like just have one piece of goth paraphernalia hanging from my neck and a freaking mustache and glasses, you know. It's like, look at that weirdo. He's got a Behelit around his neck. I guess that means he wants to sacrifice those closest to him for power, in pursuit of power. The eclipse is coming up. The advent of the God hand is upon you. I don't know if you've ever dabbled in the VR, but I got the one where it's like a big sandbox sword swinging game. So you can have like however many enemies you want or whatever, and you it's infinitely moddable. So I got the berserk weapons, of course, and so I do the you've seen where he slays 100 men, right? The FromSoft games. I actually I got one of those crazy emulator devices, right? And I noticed it had a Berserk game on it, and you kind of played through the story a bit, and that was fun. Just running around. It's just a little sword swinging game. It was pretty cool. But I kind of would play it. Like, if I had time for video games, if I wasn't a grown adult, I would probably not have given that emulator to my kid. I probably would have kept it to myself and been like, I'm going to freaking beat Berserk. I'm going to play this game and that game. I'm going to freaking Double Dragon it up. Who wants to play Double Dragons? I am going to put some wood grain. I'm going to put like a little bit. Is that okay? How about just a tiny bit, dude? And I'm not even going to put any grayscale. I've decided not to do grayscale. I'm doing zipatone. Let me just put in a couple of marks, dude. I just want to put a couple of marks in. I wanted to read Berserk because I saw how many issues it had. And I was really into, having content. That's part of why I got into One Piece when I did. Is VR worth it yet? It depends on what you want to do. And it depends on how smooth of an experience you want, and how much space you have. Because, if when my internet's strong, and I have a pretty high tolerance for like motion sickness. Some people get really motion sick in the VR games, but I'm like determined to have a good time when I put on the headset. And I uninstalled Skyrim VR because that's freaking just, I could waste hours just running around Skyrim, modding the hell out of it, trying to freaking mod it until it breaks, and it's easy to break it when it comes to the VR Skyrim. But I'd have like 18 followers, all of them like super stacked, short stacks, tall stacks, big stacks. Friggin' just leading an IHOP crew around Skyrim, shaking the pancakes. You know what I'm saying? Flipping them sausage patties down at the inn. And then break the game. Which is where it just won't start. But there's something about being able to go into Skyrim and get into a fist fight and be swinging your arms. Like, that's a great workout, to be able to smack people around. Like, because you can turn on Higgs and stuff where you can straight up run up and grab somebody by the face and throw them if you want, or just slap them. They're like, hey, stop that. Cut that out. It's just so much more satisfying. Like I can't sit here after playing a video game in VR, like Skyrim or Red Dead Redemption. Once upon a time, you could mod Red Dead Redemption, and I'm sure there's still a way to do it, although I'm not technically advanced enough to do it by myself. It was very difficult to get the mod to work when it was freely available, but yeah, you could mod force powers into it. Well, the force powers are easy with Blade and Sorcery. That's what I was getting at with the sandbox game, because Blade and Sorcery I still do have installed, and it's real easy to just jump in. You can put the Berserk weapon. You can grab the Berserk weapon, put on Guts' armor, and kill 100 or 1,000 people. And you're just swinging around this big slab of steel, and you're doing all the movements. Or you could put it at like one at a time, so you can really focus on sword fighting, like the art of sword fighting. So many different weapons in that game. You can mod guns into it. You can mod superpowers. You can fly around. There's like, you can go to Bikini Bottom. You can go anywhere, just as long as somebody's made a mod for it. Make it easier to decapitate people or cut their limbs off or what have you. But I think it's great. I think it's a lot of fun. Boxing is excellent in VR if you're looking for like a good cardio workout. And I really need to make time for that because my cardio is in the gutter right now. Like, it's terrible. But what else, man? Yeah, Blade and Sorcery, freaking modded Skyrim. Oh yeah, Red Dead Redemption. So I was able to get the Red Dead Redemption VR to work, and unmodded, but the most realistic like cowboy experience, right? So I disabled the cursor and disabled the HUD. So I couldn't see my stats or anything. And it was the first time I'd ever played the game, too. So I had to make sure I was eating just regularly. I had to... It was so great. Like, I could just, like, look around, and I'm in this beautiful scenery everywhere. But I had to get good at aiming, just freehand, off the hip. And I'd have to do the thing where you look down the iron sights, which literally nobody does, but it is in the game. You can turn it on so that you can aim properly. You aim with your head in VR, because wherever you're looking, wherever the middle of the screen is, that's where the bullet is. So like fighting on horseback was extra difficult. It was so difficult. Like every interaction, because I never used, it was very difficult to use the bullet time action. So literally I played the whole game without using Deadeye like once. And I was just freaking just getting into shootouts and taking cover. You know what I mean? It was freaking incredible. But once again, I wasted hours playing a video game and not creating a comic book, which is a problem. That life is unfortunately behind me. I ain't a gunslinger no more. All right, I feel like this is not over-rendered. So I put 2 little lines. I am gonna kind of draw the bricks in a bit. Add just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit of lines here and there to add some texture to the stones. All right, I'm not super fully texturing everything. Unrelated, I got this little kitchen for the babies in the house, and it's a normal, you know, it just sings whatever numbers. And then one day I'm listening to it, my daughters are sitting there, you know, and it's like, you make 4 pieces of pizza, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you haven't had enough, you want a little more. So put an egg on it. Yeah, put an egg on it. Yeah, and if you want some eggy pizza, put an egg on it. I'm like, what the hell is it talking about? Putting an eggs on things. And then I'm like, what other songs is it singing? And I hit it again, and I swear to God, it's like, you got these cupcakes. It started, I wish I could remember the exact lyrics. Maybe I need to go get this thing and like have it sing so you guys can hear it. But it's literally, if you want some eggy cupcakes, put an egg on it. Like, what is it singing to the babies? Like, I'm torn. Of whether, oh, here we go. Thank you. My wife heard me.
Let's cook something tasty. It's as easy as 1. Let's see. How long will that take to bake?
All right, shut up, you.
Set the oven to 5. The Let's wash our hands, gather the ingredients, set the right temperature.
Is this coming through well?
Food in the cook, and now we wait. It's done! Yay, let's eat!
Here, I'll turn it up a little bit.
How long will that take to bake? Set the oven. You've got 3 slices of bread. 1, 2, 3. If that's just not enough, because you're so hungry, put an egg on it. Yeah, put an egg on it. Yeah, if you like eggy bread, put an egg on it.
Now that's eggy bread. That makes sense, okay? Because I would put eggs on bread. I think anyone would put eggs on bread.
Let's wash our hands.
Why not?
You've got 2 beautiful cupcakes. 1, 2. If that's just not enough, I'll tell you what to do. Put an egg on it. Yeah, put an egg on it. Yeah, if you like eggy cupcakes, put an egg on it.
So I'm seeing now that it's a theme. It actually goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 is cupcakes. And you have 2 beautiful cupcakes, but you know what to do if it's not enough. Put an egg on it. And then 3 was the bread, right?
Pizza.
I didn't touch anything.
Let's wash our hands. You've got 4 pieces of pizza. 1, 2, 3, 4. If that's just not enough, you want a little more, put an egg on it. Yeah, put an egg on it. Yeah, if you like eggy pizza, put an egg on it.
And this is a leapfrog, which leapfrog, everyone knows leapfrog, the brand, you know. Who's doing this at Leapfrog?
Let's bake some cupcakes.
Shut up, you. I don't want to put eggs on cupcakes. Friggin' terrible. All right. Does this look better? Hold on a second. Let me merge. And that, I guess I got rid of the other one. I'm just going to go ahead and say it does. Yep. It used to be about learning. Yeah, it used to be about learning, not just throw an egg on it. Eggs will solve all your problems. Well, it's been 1 hour. I've made some progress. I'm going to take a minute, get some juice, and we'll see if I come back. But thanks for stopping in. Thanks, Subjugates. Thanks, Omer, for saying hi earlier. Still getting used to streaming. So I'll be doing more draw streams. And I really, I've had ideas for videos to actually make like shorter form content for the channel, but I'm just not executing. Yeah, it does look better. It pops more. I agree. I definitely agree. So now we know, now the reader knows what to look at. And I just need to go in and draw the trees good. You know, if I could really draw the trees good, but not in a distracting way, then I'll feel really good. I'll feel really good about myself. But I'm going to end the stream there. Take care. If anybody else gets on later, I might hop on to their stream. We'll see.